I was working on Wall Street as a corporate accountant, and I was managing a large team of 18 people, including a team of 5 people in India. But I was longing for something else, looking for a place in which my values could find expression. I first came through the doors of Middle in the summer of 2005. My partner at the time had just marched in the Pride March, and he was marching right in front of Middle's float. As soon as I walked through the doors, there was music, there was emotion. Preaching was amazing, and immediately my heart felt open and vulnerable and yet strong and grounded at the same time. It was the first time I walked into church and really understood through my whole being what it meant to be a church.
He's so smart and so low-key about how smart he is, and loving. Just a gentle, loving soul who is not afraid to say the hard thing. And then when you do one-on-ones with people, you find out their gifts are like, dude, you have to do one of the homilies.
I've signed up to lead worship on Wednesday evening. At that time, we had our informal Wednesday evening worship, and often it was led by lay leaders.
And the first homily that Chad did at Art and Soul was the most beautiful parable, catch you from way out here and pull you way in here, and then right down into your heart.
So I kept leading worship on Wednesday evenings, and I kept getting the same feedback from different people. Hey, Chad, are you going to apply to seminary? And so I realized this might be a way in which the Holy Spirit is speaking to me. Even if you apply and get in, that doesn't mean you have to go, and I was okay with that. And then I got a full tuition scholarship to Yale. And how do you turn that down? I thought about the people who went through this process before I did as openly gay candidates, like Anne Cansfield. And I thought, Anne didn't get through, and maybe I won't get through, but maybe someone after us will get through. And that was worth the journey. And so I started the journey 9 years ago.
I served on the committee then that sort of cares for the students that are about to be ordained or in the process of ordination. I was nervous that Chad's bravery, Chad's courage, Chad's vulnerability and transparency would get him hurt. I was nervous about that. And in fact, that is what happened.
I rarely had that sense of clarity around my own sense of call, to be honest. Of course, when I was meeting with people, I put on a good face and said, yes, absolutely, this is what I feel called to 100%. But I can't say that I felt that way all the time because of the ways in which our homophobic denomination prevented me from fully embracing this call.
Middle was way ready, but the RCA wasn't ready for that at that time.
There have been darker moments when I wrote my final theology paper and it was rejected because I incorporated aspects of my ethnic heritage, and it wasn't accepted until I took those references about my ethnic heritage out of my theology paper. That was a low point.
Come on, lay hands on Chad. Let's everybody reach across the aisle as best you can, and let's get to Chad, and let's bless him.
There have been moments in which people have supported me and prayed for me and helped me not lose sight of the larger spirit, energy, movement that was going on. Our scriptures are very clear about justice. We're called to do justice. That's not easy. It's never easy. That doesn't mean that we're going to win all the time. In fact, most of the times we won't win. But God calls us to do this. And if we root our vision in God and God's call on our lives, then there's no way that we cannot win. In the long term, God's justice will prevail. And yes, that requires a great amount of trust. But that's what faith is. And that's why we're here. is to explore and to celebrate and question who we are as people of faith, of trust in God. And if we allow ourselves to be rooted, truly create a space in our heart where we are rooted in our faith in God, then God will move us forward toward justice.
What I think is really historic about Chad getting ordained is the way this Classis, our shared collegium of churches, and the collegiate church rallied around Chad. I mean, it's historic. I think his ministry, his call to ministry, converted some people. I think he's changed some minds and changed some hearts, where you can't look at Chad in this space and go, oh yeah, no, absolutely, God has a call in his life.
What gave me courage to keep on going was that throughout this process, I never clung so closely to the ideal, to the idol of being ordained. I wanted to be ordained. I knew I was called to be ordained, but I also knew that if I wasn't meant to be called to be ordained in the Reformed Church in America, that I would still live, that I would still do ministry, that I would still serve God in this world. And I never lost sight of that. I knew that God was going to use me and all of my gifts, and I never once doubted that. That belief allowed me to not hold so closely to this one goal that then stirred up fear in me. I didn't have that fear. That then stirred up anger in me. For the most part, I didn't have that anger. That stirred up doubt in me. And of course I had questions, but I never once allowed this goal of ordained ministry in the RCA cloud my trust in God. There's no place in the world like Middle Collegiate Church. There's no church in the world like Middle Collegiate Church. And as I think about me being sent out into the world to do church, to be church in the world, I know that there is no other Middle out there. But I also know that Middle has shaped me in who I am and how I extend myself into the world, that I can bring part of Middle as I bring part of myself to wherever I am. And that part of Middle is a part of my heart. It's part of who I am. And I'm going to bring that gift wherever I go, wherever I serve, and offer that to the world.